Hello, everyone. Thank you for checking out this special episode of Really Dicey. This is Manny, and I'm here with.
Hi, I'm Harley Stroh of Goodman Games.
And I'm Michael Curtis of Goodman Games.
And today we're going to talk about adventures on the Purple Planet and beyond. From what I understand, Purple Planet was a previous module from many years ago. And it's funny, I have yet to play it, but every time I talk to someone about DCC, they'll say, hey, we talk about different games and different adventures we played, and they'll mention, hey, have you tried the Purple Planet? I'm like, no, I haven't yet. And they say, ha 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 ha, and then they meld in the darkness, and I never see them again. I'm like, okay. So tell us about this. This was previously published before. What, for anyone hearing about this for the first time, what is the Purple Planet Adventures?
Sure. So, Peril on the Purple Planet was originally DCC 84, which was our second box set after Mr. Curtis's box set that Goodman published in the DCC RPG line. And it was, originally commissioned, by Joseph to be kind of a swords and planet adventure inspired by like John Carter of Mars and Al Murik. And so I wrote that adventure, which is, why DCC on the Peril on the Purple Planet. It looks outside of the box set. The core text looks like a skinny adventure module, but during the course of the Kickstarter, we added a bunch of other authors like, Daniel J. Bishop, Tim Callahan, Edgar Johnson, Terry Olson, and they, with working with them, we bolstered out, that core text of the Purple Planet, added a lot of additional setting material, which eventually became, the thick box set that became DCC 84.
Yeah, so as Harley said, it's more than an adventure. It's also kind of a pocket little setting. There was, as Harley said, the chain coffin, which was a similar situation. It started out as a skinny module, but then, as interest grew, the setting expanded out and became, the idea was that you could you could theoretically plug these into any one of your DCC campaigns. So this was basically kind of grew beyond the original idea. And now here we are a decade later. I feel at this point, I think 2014, I think was the year it was originally published. So literally 10 years later coming up. And yeah, it's been out of print for a number of years now. You can be able to get it, and we're going to bring it back with more material. So yeah, so if you haven't checked it out before, this is the time to check it out now, because you're going to get everything and plus more, all in one handy book.
So yeah, let's talk about the return of the Purple Planet, in a sense, the return of the modules. So is it the same material? Is there something new added? What's the plan exactly?
Sure. So after DCC 84, we also published a series of like additional small modules, set on the Purple Planet. And then when Systems Matters published the German version of Peril on the Purple Planet, they also wrote an additional adventure. And then just this last year, I think it was this last year, Mike, it might be further back than that, I wrote Chessmen on the Purple Planet at Mike's request. And so in addition to the core box set that folks might already have, we have it's collecting all the subsequent adventures that were written for the Purple Planet, in addition to the German language adventure that was set on the Purple Planet, Chessmen on the Purple Planet, and then finally, one that's near and dear to my heart is it collects all the glossography of the Yoth, which were it's so cool. I don't know, Mike. I don't think how did Goodman Games even do it? But like there were random inserts into the box set. Of this mythical glossography of the Yoth, and so man, if you had bought the box set back in 2014, you'd open it up and you'd have one sheet, but your buddy down the block that bought it, she would have a different sheet, and if you talk to your cousin in California, or your weird uncle, he might have a third sheet that was slightly different. Well, there was different content, and the idea was that working together, in the real world, gamers could collect this collective glossography, sharing them with each other, photocopying them, scanning them, and uploading them to the internet, and eventually collect the full glossography of the Yoth. That never happened. There might be, no one knows why. There might be like a brick of Purple Planet boxes somewhere in Indiana. Maybe there's a warehouse fire.
Yeah,
Who knows? But
I think there's a couple collectors out there who have
yeah,
like shrink wrap version of it and been sitting on the shelf
right,
for years
exactly,
and
right.
everything. And like the missing pages might be in one of those and everything.
I'm that guy.
Yeah.
I have one box set left. Anyway, but the total glossography of the Oth was never collected. They got very close. Our audience, they got a lot of them, but the glossography of the Oth is now finally being compiled in Return to the Purple Planet, Adventures on the Purple Planet.
Hmm. Yeah. And I want to let our viewers know that if you happen to go in a warehouse and find copies, please email me, and I'll be happy to investigate.
It's so cool, but I mean, I don't know, like my mind is blown at the mechanics of preparing that, right? Because like somewhere you have a printer who's assembling all these things and then randomly pulls one from a pile, or maybe they do 500 of one thing and 500. I don't know how it's done, but what a cool. I mean, that just in my mind it solidifies the fun, the joy that Goodman Games brings to this sort of thing. Like, we're going to insert a random piece and hope you all like scan it and share it on the internet and put it back together. Like, it's not downloadable content. We're not going to sell it to you at a later date. It's just like, sweet, go hunting for this thing. How much fun is that?
Not only adventure, but an academic research project as well.
That's near and dear to your heart, Michael.
So, just to be clear, the re-release of the Purple Planet will have everything.
Yes. This is the first time you will actually be able to pay money and get them all. We haven't decided yet if we're going to pull the scheme again. But I mean, I think once a product is pretty good. But since this is going to be crowdfunded, this will be up on BackerKit, so there will be stretch goals. So we will be adding new content to it above and beyond what is already kind of in the works for it. So
for anyone hearing about the Purple Planet, how would you describe exactly, especially if you're not familiar with like the John Carter of Mars or similar stories?
Yeah, it's almost like a Rorschach test, because every author and writer that comes to the Purple Planet leaves with their own slightly different take on it. But for me, and this is only true at my table, like obviously at Curtis's table, at your you come away with a different emphasis. For me, it's very much a Sword and Planet sort of adventure, in the vein of like the Warlord comic books, where your half-clothed warrior has a ray pistol in one hand and a sword in the other, and for some reason that all makes sense. And so it's not post-apocalyptic in the traditional sense, where your stop sign is a shield, and you're dealing with robots that have clever names, that are referencing things that are in our current world. It's more there's your characters have been cast through the cosmos to this high plateau on a ruined planet beneath a weirdling sun, and there's and this plateau is inhabited by these bands of warring kith, which are just savage, almost feral humans almost. And so our PCs are need to find some way to survive on that planet, and hopefully perhaps find their way back home, or perhaps they start their own war band and conquer the Purple Planet, in the vein of like John Carter of Mars and all the Venus stories. What would you add to that, Michael?
Yeah, Harley is very adept, and he won't admit to this, but he is very good at when he's writing stuff. He basically, there are writers who can put together a railroad adventure, like, okay, you do this and you do this and you go this and that, you fight the big bad guy and you win the race. Harley builds toy boxes, and he just puts a whole bunch of stuff into it, and basically, and they just hands that over to the judge. It's like, this is your toy box to play with, and then the judge in turn hands that to the players, and the players are like, okay, well, let's see what there is to do. So this one is it is hard. It's a hex crawl. So it's a exploration on a weird planet. So you can go in any direction you want. You can you're not, as Harley said, you might want to leave the Purple Planet. You might want to, hey, we're here. We can become priest kings or whatever. This is all we just have to do is band all these kith together, and then we're the biggest. We're the biggest bully on the block. So I mean, so there's a lot of ways you can do it. I mean, a number one is survival. I mean, because as Harley said, there's a weirdling son, which is literally like sapping the vitality out of you. So that's like the first issue you have to deal with. And you've come to this world completely unprepared for it. So you have to learn, all the in and outs of the strange mushroom fauna. And what's that creature going to do? Is it going to tear my face off? Is it going to implant eggs in me? Is it good cooking? There's a lot of exploring that's going on here. So yeah, it's which, as you can see, why it went from a skinny module to a setting, because we added all this information about, now you can explore all over this. And there's plenty of stuff for, the judge. Oh, like an ancient tomb. Oh, I happen to have an ancient tomb, right, in which I can drop anywhere. So there's lots of tools for the judge to play with.
So my next question was going to be about the bestiary. I was curious about what you have to combat against. But it sounds like to me also that the environment is also an enemy to the players. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that Mike and I were really striving for is making the environment kind of a character of, in its an adversary of the players, the PCs rather, that has its own character. And so, I mean, there's nothing quantifies it quite as well as Doug's cover, which let's see if we can do this right. So one of the insets on the cover is this mushroom forest, right? Okay, fine. What a cool illustration Doug did of these mushrooms. Well, that's fine. But no, actually, inside it's annotated. This mushroom does this and it has these powers. This mushroom's good for cooking. This mushroom's poisonous. This mushroom might heal my PC. And so, there's actual material things that the players can, or the PCs rather, as they learn more about the Purple Planet, that they can use natural resources on the Purple Planet, all the while, it's trying to kill them, and these hordes of kith are clashing and perhaps now chasing the PCs, and the kith's master, the ascended masters, these horrific, hateful beings that have subsisted since time immemorial, and now direct these war bands are now after the PCs, because the PCs represent this technology and these sorcerous powers from outside this world. And so it's this kind of swirling morass of threats towards our player characters, that needs to be negotiated, hopefully through clever and courageous play.
As you know, DCC has its own classes and races and so forth. Can you use those same ones for this game? Is there like?
Oh yeah. Sorry, no, like the original box set was intended for 5th level characters. So you were a gong farmer, 15 years ago, and you progressed to a 1st level wizard, and you found your patron, and you've made your corruptions, and you've made some deals with demon lords, and perhaps but like coming around about 5th level, you and your companions were starting to raise a castle, but you angered the warlock on the other side of the mountain, and so you went to fight him, but lo and behold, he cast this terrific spell on you and cast you across the cosmos, and you and your companions, all accomplished adventures at this point, wake up on this desolate planet, and need to deal with that situation. Which is very akin to like the start of John Carter, not John Carter, Almeric. He's this Civil War soldier that I think he like collapses in a cave, and then proceeds to wake up on Mars.
That's John Carter. I don't know if
is that John Carter? Okay, maybe
that's John Carter. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. All right. I have my source text mixed up, but thank you. But in the vein of pulp adventures, where in one adventure your heroes could be dealing with this, in this one they're cast across the cosmos to the Purple Planet, and so you still have your halflings, your elves, your wizards and warriors, that sort of thing. Except that now they're dealing with this completely foreign environment in which they need to survive.
Hmm. I
But
ask only because. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead,
oh,
Michael.
I was going to say it is written for fifth adventure, but in the original box set, one of the things we didn't mention this, but one of the things that Harley wrote is Escape from the Purple Planet was actually a whole funnel. So yeah, so you can if you want to run like a pure Purple Planet, campaign using just the DCC rules, you can do that. And with the three other like digest size adventures that came out, and with Harley's new adventure, and I think we haven't mentioned this, but as part of the Purple Planet reprint thing, I think there are 7 now third-party publishers who are also creating Purple Planet themed stuff, which is going to be part of this. They're each going to be separate backer, each is going to be separate backer kit projects, but we're all doing it under this. One of the things that backer kit allows you to do is allows you to do basically multi-projects under one umbrella. So you can go to the backer kit page for Peril of the Purple Planet reprint, and not only can you back this planet the reprint, but there will also be another. There's going to be like I think one company's putting out hex crawl ideas, stuff that you can just drop onto the map. There's a couple of adventure ideas and stuff. So it's going to be a major project. So when this is all said and done, if you just want to do Sword and Planet kind of weird alien exploration survival stuff, it's going to be everything you need is going to be there. So
It's so DCC to write an adventure setting for 5th level and then be like, all right, and here's your funnel where you can start that, right?
just fill in the details between 0 and 5.
But Mike, maybe you want to explain the Horde on the Purple Planet a little bit more, I prior to this whole project I had very little experience with backer kit, so I think this is new for us what we're trying to accomplish.
Yes, yeah. Well, Backer Kit is slowly becoming for many years. People know Backer Kit is because Backer Kit fulfilled all your Kickstarter. Like okay, once the Kickstarter thing, fulfills, then you log on to Backer Kit and you get all your information. And Backer Kit sends your stuff. But now Backer Kit decided to cut out the middleman, and they said we're just going to run crowdfunding ourselves since we're going to fulfill it anyway. But so we did Grimstooth old school traps just a month or two ago. That was our first playing around with backer kit, and at first it was like we were waiting for the for the pledges to start streaming in, and they weren't coming in. We were like, oh, but it was more. It took a little while. We like somebody forgot to press a button basically. But then everyone was like, oh, there you are, and then, and it ended up being like our third most third most backed project that Goodman Games has put out. And a lot of other companies are moving over to backer kit now because they make easy to do things like this. Like, we're doing the Horde of the Purple Planet, so you can have multiple campaigns which are all going to be all together. And the way that we're working out is basically if you back more than one project, you get in a little extra special bonus. And if all of them fund, you get an extra special bonus on top of that. So it really encourages, people to basically to pledge for more than one. And it's also a good way for these smaller third-party publishers basically to get their name and their work out there as well. So, it's Goodman has always been very good about promoting and making accessible the third-party community stuff who does things for DCC. And we're one of the few companies who really does that, to the point where we actually are now carrying third-party products, in our warehouse. So, you can actually go and people are able to get their stuff on third-party stuff that you weren't normally able to. So this is a chance to basically to put all those elements together. And it's a, like I said, massive project. And in fact, actually, as part of this, there's actually going to be 2 other reprints which are going on as well. There's going to be Tome of Adventure #2, which is collecting 7 of the old skinny DCC modules from like the early part, and we're actually going to have a Lankmar Tome of Adventure #3, which is all going to be Lankmar, which are looking like 7 adventures from the Lankmar line. So the reprint of the Purple Planet is actually going to be Tome of Adventure #4. So so there's basically if you got money for the holidays, I hope you haven't spent it. We're going to take it away from you like next month.
Wow. So 7 independent third-party companies are producing more material for Purple Planet. Wow. Do you know if that's going to come out at the same time as the as this backer kit campaign, or sometime afterwards?
With the well, I think it needed a little more clarification. What do you mean? What is going to come out? All the third
Oh,
parties?
oh yeah, the
The
third party stuff. Is that coming? That's not on Goodman Games' schedule, I assume.
I mean, we're all under the same umbrella, so everybody has their own timelines. We're all going to fund it at once. So we're all doing this collaboratively, to get in. But Goodman ultimately is going to be. It's up to the third party, to determine, because some of the things are obviously going to be much smaller.
Hmm.
And so there's trying to coordinate the delivery time for 7 different projects, across the board is just too much. So especially if one of the third party is, if they have like a 10,000 word skinny module book or something like that, compares to where we're doing this massive reprint and all of that, they might be able to turn it around a little quicker. So,
Hmm.
so.
But the
Okay.
funding window is the same, right? Like, when Return to the Purple Planet launches, that's when
Yes, yeah,
all these, yeah,
they're all going to launch at the same time.
yeah,
But everybody's on their own separate fulfillment track.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Wow. Wow. That's really exciting. So concerning your backer kit, concerning your campaign, I know DCC has always had some really cool stretch goal ideas and so forth. Anything you could share with us about what's planned?
Well, Harley, you should be sending me stuff today.
Yeah, it is the seventh, Mike. I'm not gonna let you down. Well, so to fans of Goodman Games who have backed DCC, crowdfunding before, it'll be no surprise that we have some new sets of dice that are themed to the Purple Planet. Kindness of the brilliant chemists at Impact Games. I don't quite know what they do, like how they're creating these new dice after all these years, but we'll have more than one, a few dice sets that are themed to the Purple Planet, for people to consider, and then I am providing additional monsters, new relics, a new tomb, a new, well, yeah, okay, so let's not reveal it all, but it's all written up, it's all going to Mike, and
But it's going to be up to the backers whether they actually see this.
right, exactly. There you go. There you go. Yeah. Yeah.
So don't skimp on backing, because the more obviously the more you get, the more you get. The more we get, the more you get. So that's basically that's how stretch goals work, right? So
Okay. If I may ask, if I was running this, what characters would you make?
I in my heart of hearts, one of the reasons that I absolutely love DCC RPG is because of the freedom it gives warriors with mighty deeds. Um, I would play. I mean, it's almost a cliche, but the 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 freedom that's opened up for warriors, with mighty deeds of arms. I would play a warrior in any day of the week. It's the first fantasy RPG where the warrior could be more creative than the magic user or the wizard. More clever than the thief. I don't know. I would, yeah, I would always run a warrior, given a chance. Just they're so much fun. I don't know, Mike. What would your answer be?
I've been pro fighter, but from like from BX day, I'm happy playing a fighter. So obviously warrior, same reason. It's like you can do so much with it. And I think actually the Purple Planet Adventure is a place where warriors can, above and beyond what they can normally do, you're dealing with these clashing cultures which are very combat, very trophy, they're basically a lot of like renown, maybe not quite honor, but battle prowess or something like that. So this is a situation where a good warrior can literally, basically follow me, dogs, basically, like he's sort of like wailing into it. And next thing you know, you have like a war band behind you, and you become a new chieftain, so now you're a political player, in the vast chessboard that is the Purple Planet, and you get more kits flocking to your blood-stained banner, and point your sword to the latest ruin of whatever town settlement and descend on it like the final episode, the final story in Heavy Metal. You're coming out of the hills with your mutant band ready to lay waste. So yeah.
Well, it helps that you're like nobody can tell us on the internet, but you're like 6.5 feet tall, and 2,000 years ago, Mr. Curtis, you would have been the leader of a war band, whereas I would have been like hammering copper and making shoes. Yeah. But,
So I've noticed that stories like these, Flash Gordon, John Carter of Mars, even in some semblance, Tarzan, this idea of someone going into a very alien location and trying to survive the environment and trying to adapt and trying to overcome it. In a way, Superman is kind of like the opposite, reverse trope of that, where it's like someone alien coming here and becoming and overcoming everything. What is it? What is it about? I guess you could say a trope. This idea that's still prevalent in our society today. What is it that makes us want to go out to Mars and Venus and just have these insane adventures?
yeah. I think there's a couple parts to that, and I love that you asked that question. I think man versus environment, back in 1992 when I was in college, whatever. But I think one of the chief values of this completely foreign place is that you do away with all the preconceptions that the players have going into it. If Mandy, if you're running Forgotten Realms with me and we go to Waterdeep, it comes with all this baggage in my head as to what these adventures are going to be like. But if I hand you like a completely foreign land and unknown world that you get to run for your players, all of a sudden those experiences are more immediate because there's not that baggage, that fluff between them and kind of what you're trying to communicate. And so I think there's a lot of value there to us as judges, as game masters running games. I think it can deliver a lot. But I don't want to ramble too much. Mike, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I think it's the same thing why we play role-playing games in the first place, is that we humans are innately curious. I mean, we are the monkeys who, said, hey, what happens when we get out of the trees? I mean, we were, then there's still that part of us, as an entire species. So there's always going to be that interest, like, hey, what's on the other side of that hill? Or what's over there? Or what happens if I poke this thing with a stick? Or, so obviously there's drawbacks to that curiosity, because, sometimes things don't like it when you poke them with a stick. But, other times, if you poke with a stick, they just start dispensing treasure, So I think that, I mean, inherently, any sort of unexplored frontier has always going to be, and I mean, I think the legacy, which is America. I mean, we are literally a company who a bunch of people said, hey, what's over there? And and we got there, and much to the detriment of the people who were already here, we said, hey, well, let's go over there. Let's keep going over that way. So there's that element of it, and I think one of the reasons that Purple Planet does this so well is you especially with old school D&D, being written by an American author, there is very much that colonial, like I want to go and like original D&D is just like, I'm going to clear out this hex, I'm going to build a stronghold, and I'm going to be in charge of everything. But where with Purple Planet, there's not a level. It's not about colonialism. It's more like Castaway. It's more like you're being shipwrecked on it. So it's not a matter of, oh, I'm going to like become the boss here. It's like, I'm going to try to survive here. I mean, so there's that element of it. So I mean, I think that natural tendency of want to know more about where we are. I think that's really what drives any sort of hex crawl. But when it's on an entirely different world that you know absolutely nothing about, even more so.
Yeah, and you think about the first time your character went into the caves of chaos and keep on the borderlands, and you're I think Mike, I think you and I were both 8 when we played for the first time.
Yeah.
And as your experience as a gamer for just that one day or that one month, like everything is new. You find that first like cloak of Elvenkind, you're like, what the hell is this thing? And it makes me sort of invisible, and there's boots that match this. Like this is amazing. And then we can never have that again, because the next time I find a cloak of Elvenkind or the next +1 sword I find. And so, what we have here is an opportunity to not return you to the Caves of Chaos. We've done that. We've all played the Caves of Chaos. That's not the important part, but the gaming experience of discovering something new for the first time. When you put on that gloved relic and push the buttons, and all of a sudden it bursts into this flaming lance that is going to help you fight off this death worm. That's very much akin, when the players and their characters experience that for the first time. That's very much in the same vein of why I fell in love with gaming, holding up that cloak of Elvenkind the first time, and I think why a lot of us fell in love with gaming. And so it offers the opportunity to discover things for the first time.
And that's been kind of the driving goal about Dungeon Crawl Classics as a game from the very beginning, from when Joe Goodman was just like, I kind of want to recapture with that feeling where everything is new again, which is one of the reasons why it uses a D7 and a D16. And I mean, you've been playing around, you're like, it's a D20 and that's a D8 over there. The first time you see that, you get that experience like the first time you saw like a D20, when you you might have only known like a D6 from playing Monopoly. You're like, what is this? And then you like, now I have a 24-sided die. Like you can manage there's that whole feeling, and the idea why a DCC, like the original book, it doesn't have tons of monsters or magic items or anything. The idea is that these should be new. These should be things that you don't know. Like, oh yeah, that's a cloak. Yeah, it's most likely a cloak of Elvican. I put on invisible everything. It's like, that's a cloak. Maybe it's magical. I don't know what's going to do. Maybe I burst into flames when I wear it, or maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it's a bad thing. And that monster, it's like, hey, is that no? It's a 4+4 hit die ogre. No, I don't know what that is. It's like, that could be immune to everything we throw at it, or it could fall over as soon as we use harsh language. Again, and nothing says the interest of the strange and the unknown more than taking all that and then moving it to a completely alien world, where on top of that, all right, I now don't even know what the world is going to do. Can I breathe this air? Am I slowly being killed? Why am I getting weaker? So there's interesting new questions that you have to answer.
Yeah, I have to say that what makes DCC special to me, the magic system. I know they really released a bestiary in a sense recently, but for the longest, DCC never had its own bestiary. You had to really think of its own monsters, or the module will have some unique stuff happening. And I think that always holds back to me. I may try different OSRs, but DCC is just really unique, really special. But yeah, Bob, I'm preaching to the choir, so.
Yeah. No, I mean, to be honest, when Joe originally told me the idea for DCC, I was very active in the old school Renaissance at that time, and I would Labyrinth Lord was my, my retro clone of choice and everything, and I was just like why are you using like 3.5 mechanics in order to do this and everything? It's like, why aren't you making another retro clone? And here we are, now 12 years down the line, and okay, Joe, you had some idea. It's like, I mean, because it wasn't just another retro clone. It was more about taking that experience and using existing mechanics which had stood the test of time, rather than trying to be faithful to the kind of hodgepodge mechanics we grew up with. I mean, I mean, there's a reason we've been kicking around with one edition, for more than a decade now, which is damn near unheard of. Most like we're coming on D&D 5.56, D&D 1, whatever we're calling it, and literally DCC has been around since 4th edition. So we've lived through 3 editions now of these of Dungeons and Dragons. So we must be doing something right.
Adventures on the Purple Planet and Beyond. This will be available when for
the backer kit will be starting next month. So you can, if you go to the Goodman Games website, we have a link to it. If you can just go to backer kit and you do a search for Purple Planet, it will most likely come up. Harley and I, we've been having a show on our Twitch channel, and like they're now on YouTube as well, where we've been going in depth about the Purple Planet, and Harley does a very nice recap every week, and there's links to that from there. So there's plenty of ways to find it. You can sign up, and as soon as it goes live, you'll be notified. But it will. We're less than, I want to say we're about 4 weeks out, so we're getting really close to it. So.
All right, excellent. So I'll put all that information in the description below. Thank you both for taking the time to talk to us about the Purple Planet, and I'm hoping convince a game master, to actually run this for me, so I can actually experience this. I'm very curious about it now, much more now than when I first heard about this backer kit.
I can almost guarantee you in the next few months there are going to be more people running Purple Planet than there have been in years, because people will finally have it back in their hand in hard copy, and won't have to track it down on Noble Knight for $200 or whatever it's going for on the secondhand market.
And that is excellent too. So yes, viewers, thank you for watching. Stay safe out there. Hope you're warm. It's snowing right now, pretty hard in New England, and we'll see you next time.